This is exhilarating. Get excited.
Hey, guess who spent $10,000 on a YouTube, on a short film to put on YouTube and doesn't consider it a flop? This guy right here. Yeah, so biggest flops I would say I've ever had in my life was the first PC I ever built. The reason for that is because that thing kept crashing. It had great moments. Like, I was able to do a lot of editing and a lot of stuff on it, but it kept crashing at such a high enough frequency where I literally went back to editing on my laptop because my laptop was more stable than my PC. And I remembered, and it was the first build of Prometheus. It was the very first build of Prometheus because I was using the Intel i7 4790K, which was the highest one that Intel, like the consumer chip that Intel had at that time. And that thing ran notoriously hot. And I thought I had the right cooler for it. Turns out I didn't. And I learned a very valuable lesson about, within 6 months, 6 to 7 months of that. Yeah, 6, 7. Sorry. But anyway, I ran into that issue and I got it fixed, and I learned like proper setup and all that, and now I haven't had that mistake since. But for the first around 6 months of me owning it, that is the biggest flop I could say, because I spent so much money trying to just get the best parts, the best this, the best that. And yeah, it just, for 6 months, I literally could do nothing with it. It was literally like a paperweight.
That sucks.
Yeah. And it's because I spent so much money that I had to wait to get it fixed, because I was just like, okay, so I just need to work my job and make more money. And that's what I did. And then eventually I bought the right parts. And then after that, everything was great. But nothing beats having having a gigantic, like, PC-shaped paperweight sitting around that you've dumped over $2,000 into, and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, you would think at some point of dumping money into it, it should work.
Yeah, which, this is why I don't 100% hate on Kid Icarus for his take on, like, having issues with PC building. I get it. But you stick with it and you get through it, and then boom, you're good. You get better the more you do. And that was my lesson. I understand the frustrations with PC building, but for me, in terms of like flops, stuff that I've dumped money into, I'm mostly proud of the stuff that I've done.
I think my biggest flop was probably the Pathfinder campaign. I tried to run for some friends back in the day. Mm-hmm. Pathfinder 1E. I had all the books and all the stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And tried to run a module for them. And on the second session, I had this genius idea that I was like, hey, I'll get my buddy Chance to come, like, guest play the villain that they fight. That's the first boss.
Yeah.
And he's so just, like, deviously sadistic that he total party killed everybody. And then it just kind of ended there.
Damn.
I was like, that was probably not the best idea in retrospect, I guess. That's probably why I always question if I'm actually a good DM or not nowadays.
Once again,
I learned a crap ton of stuff since then. So.
The only way you will know is if you try. And the only way you're going to get better is if you make mistakes. Because it's like I told my mom. It's like, right now, you're down here. The only place you can go is up. And it's important to realize what your, like, where your lowest point is, because you don't want to ever go back to that. So you need to work at, like, getting built back up and only ascending and improving yourself from here on out. And the route to improvement isn't always like a guaranteed, oh, you did this, therefore this is going to happen. No, it's like, you did this, so here are the things that you've learned, and here's how you can implement it in the future. There's a lot of different things that goes into it, like personality indexes and how people respond to criticisms and all that. Because there's some people I know who do not respond to criticisms well at all. The very moment you tell them anything negative about something that they're doing, you know, something that you don't like about it, then they just fly off the handle and start panicking and, you know, again, people are so sensitive about that stuff, and they need to grow up. I'm sorry. I've just seen it unfold way too often. That's like Manuel. Love him to death. But the very moment anybody said anything about his music that wasn't, oh yeah, it's really good. Oh yeah, it's this. Oh yeah, it's that. Anytime he would just clam up, and he wouldn't play music anymore. And then it'd be like a year later, he'd be like, hey man, let's record more music again. And then record more music. Guess what? Runs into another person that says, yeah, it's not really my thing, bro. I just think it's kind of a ripoff of Elliott Smith. I was like, and a ripoff of Elliott Smith, to which then he'll just be like, he just stops him. Once again, man, just...
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Elliott Smith, he's, well...
No, I don't know who Manuel is.
Oh, Manuel, he used to be in videos way back in the day, more of the slice of life, or like the like vlog style stuff. For instance, Renegades Redneckery. He was in the first 3 episodes, and yeah, he's awesome. Manuel's a good dude. It's just he is so hard on himself for no reason. Well, expensive flops. We have 10 of them here from Josh Scorcher. What do you say? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
This video is brought to you by Redneck Engineer, custom-built gaming PCs and parts for an affordable price.
Yay.
Use code JoshScorcher at checkout for a 5% discount.
Yay.
And make sure you don't have any coupon clipping extensions like Honey installed or I don't get my commission. Thank you!
1 year ago, I lost $400 million in the blink of an eye. And the world just fucking watched. Not everything in the gaming industry can succeed. It's an unfortunate truth. But some games just take it to the next level.
Oh,
These are the
Mighty
games
Nine.
that kill
Mighty
creators,
number 9.
studios, and sometimes even entire genres. And with how expensive game development has gotten these days, it makes the big flops hit that much harder. The rules are simple. How much did the game cost, and how much did it lose?
Expensive. They just choose to put too much money into it.
Agreed. For instance, Claire Obscure.
Because indie studios have proven that it can be made without needing billions and millions of dollars to do it.
Mm.
This is further compounded by any kind of publisher/console fees and the cost to uphold a live service. Now, a very important disclaimer here, budgets are not always publicly disclosed. So many of these figures are estimates or based on reports, leaks, or educated guesses based on production quality. Full disclosure, we're shooting in the dark here, but we did our best.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So you'd expect a lot of these games to be flops due to being embarrassing, unpolished disasters, and believe me, we're gonna get to those. But starting off, here's a game you might not have expected to see. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Conker's been vindicated by history, of course, years of nostalgia, and content creators like myself have given people the impression that Conker was a cult classic game that
catered to was too young to be allowed to buy it at the time.
Also, it came in at the death rattle of the N64.
Yeah, it was one of those things that like appealed to people like me, and we were just under the age where we were allowed to buy stuff like that, and we were too embarrassed to try to ask our parents if we could have it, because like they'd look at the box and be like, no.
Yeah, which
it was juvenile humor, and therefore it was like not gonna appeal to like the people who were actually old enough to buy it, probably.
Yeah, and plus, given the Conker's cutesy nature and the fact that Conker was also in previous like rare games like Diddy Kong Racing and stuff like that, I mean, people didn't know what to expect because, you know, Rare hadn't released like an M-rated game before on the N64. At least as far as I know, I can't remember if Blast Corps was in 60 or was Blast Corps was in 64, but I can't remember if it was M-rated.
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No.
Okay. So yeah.
I think Blast Corps was like an E.
Okay. So there are a lot of different factors that go into why Conker's Bad Fur Day was a flop, but even though it was a flop, I do not consider it a bad game. It is a great game, and it's a game that deserves a lot of love and respect, but Nintendo wants to forget about it because it is not, it's part of the Rare lineup that Shigeru Miyamoto is still very much like about. Much like Donkey Kong 64. Donkey Kong 64, Miyamoto did not like it that much. Especially considering Donkey Kong is like his baby. That's his like go-to like character that he knows and loves. Whereas Conker is an original work completely devoid of Nintendo. It's strictly from the warehouse of Rare. And Rare,
like the Disney of gaming, stuff like this just wasn't really their wheelhouse at Nintendo, you know.
No. But this is a great game. Even though it is a flop, it is a great game.
While not as big as its fellow Rare games, still did fairly well. You'd be wrong. Let's start at the beginning because this game has a surprising history that's comparable to Project Dream's development. Conker actually started out as Rare's first attempt at a 3D platformer before Banjo was conceptualized. Conker was supposed to be their breakout star, but for a while, the game wasn't really clicking. Rare's other teams released banger after banger with the Banjo games at DK64, while Conker's 12 Tales was in limbo of being announced but not really coming out. That's when Rare's Chris Savor, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, had the idea to switch it to an edgy, violent, crass game where Conker causes more problems than he fixes them, and thus Conker's Bad Fur Day was born. Of course, since the game had to be rebuilt from the ground up, another delay meant the game had to release at the end of the Nintendo 64's lifespan, and Nintendo themselves weren't too keen on promoting a game that had, well, this in it. So Conker sold a resounding estimated 55,000 copies. That's bad. Real bad for a game with that long a development cycle.
And also, that's why the game in full physical format is super hard to find. Because of just how few there are.
Despite a lot of adjusting for inflations and assumptions based on development costs at the time, means Conker lost somewhere in the ballpark of 13 to 20 million. In the early 2000s, a loss like that was crippling for any game studio. While nothing is confirmed, there's a part of me that wonders why Rare ended up being bought out by Microsoft.
Congratulations, your purpose has been fulfilled. Die. What?
Conker still has its fans nowadays. It's not that the game was bad by any means, but at the time it really struggled to find an audience. Adults would see it and think it looks too kiddie, and kids wouldn't be able to buy a game with a big 18 plus label on it. It's almost a shame too, because the modern internet could have bolstered word of mouth for this game, but it's safe to say Conker's Bad Fur Day was just released at the wrong time.
Yes, it is a victim of its time of its release window. Absolutely.
Don't get used to
I think it was before, like, stuff like South Park really took off, too.
South Park was around, but it hadn't hit the full measure of what it... Which, funny
Like,
enough...
there was a turning point at one point where South Park and Family Guy and, like, enough stuff was out. Like, The Simpsons kind of proved early enough that, like, animation didn't have to necessarily just be for kids.
Mm.
But there was definitely a turning point at one point where we all realized, hey, like, because something's animated doesn't mean it has to be for kids.
It was in the early 2000s. I remember that.
And just because a video game's cartoony doesn't mean it has to be for kids. And there's been, like, crass cartoony games since then that have done really well in certain cases. And, like, nowadays, like, if you were to release, like, a game kind of like Conker's Bad Fur Day on Steam, there's a good chance it might actually do really well.
I wouldn't doubt it. As a matter of fact, I've advocated for a long time, like, because I know they did Conquer Live and Reloaded, but I want an official Conker's Bad Fur Day remastered or remake.
I think a remake would be cool, like a full remake. Modernization would be awesome.
I think so.
With some good writers, like from some of the best comedy writing teams, like somebody like maybe the Borderlands 2 writers on it. Or
Probably, yeah.
Bad for these games. The rest of this list makes Conker look amazing in comparison.
Well, starting out with a
Our next
with a
entry
big
is
one.
one that needs no introduction.
Oh my
an attempted
God!
hero shooter that
This is number 9. This is arguably the most expensive flop of all time.
Yeah, I would have thought this would be number 1.
Me too.
failed miserably against the
there.
juggernauts of the genre. A game that had the
There's
folly
about
to
to be
declare
another one of these too.
Really?
High Guard. Have you heard about that?
Oh no, I have.
Yeah, like it was announced at the very end of the Game Awards, and everybody was like, "Why did they save this for the big reveal at the end? This looks so generic," and nobody cared, and like nobody's talked about it. And somebody posted on Discord today, they're like, "Yeah, you know, High Guard comes out in like 3 weeks." And it's like, yeah, they've done no advertising for it since. Nobody's talked about it. Dude, it is DOA.
So here's the problem.
Absolutely dead on arrival.
So here's how this game could have pulled a potential comeback. If they would have released FTP, free to play, if they would have released free to play and built up their audience on the free to play thing. But the problem is, even though if they would have done free to play, eventually it would have worn its welcome out because the character designs are absolutely insanely bad. The
gameplay wasn't very good.
The gameplay wasn't very inventive. It was basically just your...
They said it felt like a very slow Overwatch.
Sloverwatch. Gosh.
Itself the next billion-dollar franchise. That's right. We're talking about...
It's Lawbreakers. Yeah, I know. I'm getting the footage.
Oh, wait. Lawbreakers.
okay,
Oh, God, that one. I actually played Lawbreakers.
I did too, and sadly enough, Lawbreakers was a lot of fun.
It was. God.
It's like I actually wish that Lawbreakers hadn't flopped because it was a lot of fun.
Cliff Bleszinski made a good game. I liked it. Him and his team made a good game, and I really wish it would have like found an audience.
Ready for it now.
Oh, come on. You ruined my setup.
Did I? Let's face it, boss. We're only at number 9. There's no way Concord would be that low.
Thank you.
Just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. Anyways, Lawbreakers. Looking back at it, it almost seems quaint by today's standards. With how much the more recent AAA live services lost, this one feels like just a mild underperformance by comparison. At the time, though, this was the live service failure. Back in 2014, Cliff Bleszinski announced he was coming out of retirement to make a new game. This would become Lawbreakers. On paper, it seemed like it would do just fine. A free-to-play 5v5 arena shooter in the vein of Quake. So how'd it fail? Oh, yeah.
Sadly, yeah, it coming out on the heels of an already fully developed and fully finished Overwatch, that would do it.
Ironic.
By the time Lawbreakers came out in August of 2017, Overwatch was absolutely dominating the market.
Yes.
Lawbreakers, of course, stood absolutely no chance. And in not being free to play, not being on Xbox, people being turned off by Cliff's attitude, and it was over.
Okay, yeah, I love Cliff Bleszinski and his design methods of like creating games, but he does have a very abrasive personality.
He just comes off as kind of a douchey kind of dude.
And I think that's attributed to the fact that he may have, like, Asperger's, and it causes him to not, like, hold himself in measure of what he says.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not going to, like, assume that Cliff Bleszinski has autism or Asperger's or anything like that, but I do know people who are a lot like that, very abrasive, even though they don't mean to be or want to be. It's just because of, like, they can't help themselves.
Yeah, he just comes off to me as like the dude bro of game design. It's like he has really cool games, but like he'd be better off not putting his personal image with them.
Yeah, just be a dev.
Be the name on top of it. Like
Yeah,
American
be the
McGee
dev.
was and stuff, you know?
Yeah, because American McGee never really did public stuff that much.
I don't know what American McGee looks like. So that tells
Pretty
you
generic.
something.
Yeah. He looks fairly generic. Although with a name like American McGee, I would have expected him to at least wear a cowboy hat.
Right.
Never did. Never did, from what I understand.
Funnily enough, Cliff himself was
Hell,
aware
John Romero wore a fucking cowboy hat before American McGee did. And that's saying something.
of how steep the competition was. He went so far as to blame Overwatch for the failure of Lawbreakers. And it's not like he was wrong. In his memoir, he recounted an artist at his studio saying, "We are so fucked," in response to Overwatch's reveal. Lawbreakers bombing effectively killed Boss Key Productions. They tried to hop onto the Battle Royale craze with Radical Heights, but that failed as well. Cliff did tease possible news in April 2023, but it's been over 2 years since, so we're probably not going to get anything anytime ever. Now we wait for another statement of mine to age like milk.
Oh no.
In all the universe, there is but one true evil. It be not zombies,
Pay to win.
mankind, or even our own hubris. It is...
A cardboard box!
Want further proof that Konami can't find a leg to stand on without Kojima? Say hello to Metal Gear Survive, the first chapter in the series since he parted ways.
Oh my
And
god.
Game that has nothing to do with Metal Gear. It just has the name slapped on it because Konami was stupid back then.
Konami, this was when Konami was in full just
Shooting
fuck Hideo
themselves
Kojima mode. They were in full like
They were in full shooting themselves in the foot mode, like emptying the mag into their own foot mode.
yeah, and basically just trying to murder, like literally, they tried to take their game dev, like their game dev like prestige out back with a buck knife and tried to like saw its head off with this shit spewing like bile duct of a release. But instead, thankfully, after a very sobering realization that yeah, we need to diversify our income outside of pachinko machines and casino machines, let's actually develop good games again. You still need to apologize to Kojima, you
They never will.
oh boy,
never.
did it.
I know, they never will, but still, do the right thing. I don't care. It's what's right.
Stumble upon entry. As if the bad faith from the separation didn't spoil folks' interest enough, this game is frickin' boring. A barely recognizable paint-by-the-numbers zombie title with frustrating bare-bones gameplay and, microtransactions? What's that? You want to use a second save slot? You got it.
$10.
That'll be $10. Oh yes, you heard that right. They're charging for one of the most basic features in a game. But in their defense, I guess they needed to since the game was a flopperoo. Conveniently, Konami kept financial records of Survive sales upon release under wraps. Pretty telling considering they weren't too shy about the franchise's successes before. To give it some credit, it did make the top 6 of new releases in the UK, but it also sold 85% less than Metal Gear Rising and 95% less than Metal Gear Solid 5. If I were a petty mathematician, and I am, I'd say that comparison means the game only walked away with $13.8 million and ended up costing Konami somewhere between $50 million. Suddenly all makes sense why they tried to hide those reports.
You guys all think you're so much better than me.
Oh, Meg, that is the least fancy thing I have ever heard.
Of course, it wasn't enough to kill the company. They're too flippin' big to fail, and they got all those pachinko machines. And at the time of this video, Survive is still being supported. So Konami's basically that.
Why?
Very strange.
Why?
No clue.
One parent who loves
Just for
their
the
kids,
5
but
people that play it.
The 5 people who, I guarantee. Oh, dude, if it's just one guy who is so desperate to say like it's a good game, it's actually a good game.
I've actually met people who were like, it's actually kind of fun, and I'm just like, I don't care. It's an insult. Like, so I will never touch it or give it a chance.
doesn't want to be seen in public with them. Kojima's gone out of his way to distance himself from Survive. We're not sure which hurts more, the laughable sales compared to the rest of the franchise, or earning the scorn of the man who pioneered the Metal Gear Solid series.
And whose engine you stole right out from under him to build this crock of shit in.
And somehow it looks worse than Metal Gear Solid 5 when it's built on the same engine.
Yes!
Like, look at those textures in the back.
Yeah.
Like, flat-ass fucking bolts on the fucking thing in the back.
Yeah.
It
Also,
looks terrible compared to MGS5.
is this blackface?
Probably.
I'm counting this as blackface. That's another sin to add to this era of fucking Konami.
She die on my katana till I can't leave without my buddy Superfly. Fuck!
That's right.
Wow, George Romero's biggest embarrassment.
George Romero was like the dude bro gaming before Cliffy B.
John Romero, sorry.
John
Not George,
Romero,
John.
sorry, yeah.
John Romero.
George is
George
the zombie
Romero
guy.
is like the godfather of zombie
Yeah,
flicks.
yeah. I like
John Romero.
George Romero, good. John
I like
Romero,
John.
not as
I
good.
like George. Oh no, I like John too. But
For the early work.
for his early work and for
Daikatana is where he kind of lost his mind.
yeah, John Romero's going to make you his bitch. More like.
John Romero's gonna look like a bitch.
Oh, John Romero's about to become everyone's bitch. And I love John Romero's work. I mean, he's one of the most legendary game devs of all time. But here he royally messed up.
Romero's about to make you his... Wait, no, I can't say that. This is
Yes, you can.
a family-friendly channel.
No, what the hell is not? You've sworn multiple times.
Okay, let's talk about a failed violent video game. Daikatana, the game that tries to answer the question, what if Doom was made by a weeb? Developed by John Romero and Ion Storm back in the late 90s, it is notorious for being one of the most infamous video game flops. But how could it be? It had the minds behind Doom and Quake. It was influenced by Chrono Trigger and Ocarina of Time. The main character was named after the legendary Shigeru Miyamoto. How could this fail? Oh, you sweet poor children. One does not simply cram aspects of an RPG and an adventure game into an FPS. It's fitting that Romero worked on Doom because the hell this game went through was crazy. You had embezzlement, you had mass firings, you had a worker mutiny, you had game engine changes, you had a director who kept wanting changes every other week. Yeah, looking at you, Romero.
Commit, John. This is the thing I don't think he understood. Commit. Commit to the bit. Finish. And get something out there that is at least legible. Instead of, constantly shooting yourself in the foot by trying to do the newest and best thing in the moment.
The newest and best thing is what you write down while you're making this to put it in the next thing.
Yeah. All the ideas that you wanted to come up with, oh, we're going to put it in the Quake 2, dude.
Build
Make
your next
Daikatana
game
2.
on the Quake 2 engine.
Yeah, put Daikatana 2 in the Quake 2 engine. Or better yet, maybe the Quake 3 engine. If it came out early enough for you to work on, which, John Carmack, you and him are really good friends. So, good lord.
You have a demo that runs at 12 frames per second. You should have quit while you were ahead.
Optimize. That's another thing, too. Optimize your freaking game and make it run at a decent rate.
Never mind performance or bug issues. The real headache was the AI party members. Yeah, before we got RE5, we had Daikatana's goobers who were required to progress through the levels. I don't know how RPG party members translate to bad AI psychics that barely worked, but guess that's what Romero thought when playing Chrono Trigger. After many delays and an insane amount of personnel changes.
Good Yahtzee reference.
Daikatana was released in 2000 on Windows and N64 for some reason. How did it do? Well, it only cost Ion Storm around $9 to $28 million in 2000, which after inflation comes anywhere from a $16 million up to a $54 million loss. Only selling 40,000 copies overall and killing Ion Storm in the process. After the dust had settled, there was a lot of finger pointing amongst the devs. But one thing remained true. There was a lot of regret as well. Romero's own career hit a standstill after this game. From the ad
So the
campaign
thing
with
about
the
the game
infamous
too is every
tagline.
time I see footage from it, I'm like, this looks kind of badass.
Yes, it does. You see, I would love.
It's hard to tell. Like it's hard to imagine how like a game that looks that cool is actually that bad. But when you hear the details about it, you're like, oh, I guess so.
You know, I want someone to go back and do a full retro rebuild
Well, it's
of this game
I
and
think
actually make it good.
Shadow Warrior, I think, is like the spiritual successor to this. Shadow Warrior's kind of
Fair
this
enough.
idea, but done well.
Fair.
At least in 1 and 2, because I heard 3 wasn't very good. But especially Shadow Warrior 2, that's kind of when I'm seeing this kind of stuff. That sort of looks like
Very Shadow
old
Warrior.
Shadow Warrior 2, like Shadow Warrior 2 is like the modernized version of it.
Yeah.
To the overall flop that
doesn't suck.
Daikatana became. Though there is some good news for preservation, as the source code for Daikatana was released to the community, with the game getting an unofficial fan patch fixing all of the game's issues. Plus, Romero even
Right
If
there.
the fans could do that, why couldn't the devs? Well, I guess because the devs got fucking yeeted.
Yeah, the devs literally just got straight out the door after Ion Storm
That
got...
might be the thing too. Is a lot of times when I'm seeing footage from it, I might be seeing the fan patch that fixes the whole thing.
I want a fan patch of this that's actually going to make the game good.
released the ROM for the Game Boy Color version to the public. Yeah, there was a Game Boy version that actually reviewed better than the original game. Nowadays, Daikatana is seen as an example of how bad a game dev cycle can go, and how passionate fans can be when it comes to games they enjoy. Too bad the rest of the list shows that the industry still hasn't learned anything.
Sometimes other people look at failure ideas and be like, there was something there. We could do it a lot better. Like
Yes,
Shadow
and-
Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
Say what you want about multiverses, at least they had a chance to come back.
I still don't know what's happening with that. Like, I don't.
It's dead.
I don't understand.
It's dead now. Warner Brothers...
They had a fan base and then they just stopped. And then they tried to bring it back and then they monetized the shit out of it. And then they just stopped again. And it's like, why did you just kill something successful? Like,
I don't know. You expect Warner
it's like
Brothers
a
to make
huge case
sense.
of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they
You-
tried to fix something that wasn't broke and fucked it all up.
You expect Warner Brothers to actually make competent, legible decisions.
I guess, but
No, I don't. I don't expect Warner Brothers to make good decisions, especially dude. Even now with the James Gunn stuff going on, I'm like, and his movies and shows like at their like precipice, I'm still sitting here just like, yeah. Even with all that, I'm still in doubt about a lot of things in terms of Warner Brothers. Like, okay, especially Warner Brothers in terms of gaming. Look, they shut down Monolith, bro. Why?
Aged like milk. Believe it or not, multiverses didn't used to be the $100 laughingstock that gamers nowadays remember it as, and wish they didn't. The game was in development since 2019 and was built up to be a competitor for games like Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now is the time to throw your heads back and laugh. Ready? All joking aside, multiverses went into early access in 2022, and people were hyped. Then the game went into an open beta, and people loved it. A multiplayer fighting game where you can play as all sorts of characters under the Warner Brothers umbrella? Sounds awesome, right? Well, everyone thought so until they didn't. Already, the open beta came with weird character choices people didn't want and microtransactions in an open beta. Then, in a profoundly stupid move, Warner Brothers would shut down the beta in early 2023 with the full game set to launch in 2024. To which one has to ask why? Apparently, they wanted to rebuild the game in Unreal Engine 5 for better net coding and visuals. But this only led to features from the open beta being either incomplete or just removed entirely. The launch of the full game was like watching a tale of two multiverses.
once again, run multiverses as is, and then
Make a later
2 years
installment
later
on the new engine.
make another installment, give your dev team more time to implement everything over from the first game smoothly, so that way you don't lose features, and improve it, and thus then you release Multiverses 2.
Also, everybody needs to realize that Unreal 5 is not very good and it's outrun current hardware,
Yes.
and that it's nearly impossible to optimize.
In a lot of states, yes.
They got rid of several key features from the beta. Oh yeah, and that predatory monetization system somehow got worse. On top of that, the gameplay was much slower compared to the beta, which dampened people's enjoyment of it. And it didn't help that the hype was smothered out after all the bad PR surrounding Multiverses before launch. But okay, I'm sure all these bugs will get fixed and Multiverses can recover from here, right? $100 million loss later.
Well, I'm dead.
What?
I'm dead. Says here, I'm definitely dead.
Multiverses went from having over 20 million players in 2022 to just a little over 1,000 before January 2025, according to Steam data. Then in January, Warner Brothers announced that Multiverses would completely shut down after Season 5. And Warner Brothers would shutter Player First shortly after. Thanks, guys, for aging my 2024 fails video. Appreciate it. But hey, at least my prediction of Warner Brothers shutting down their first game studio came true. Maybe. It sucks because look at these numbers. It started so well. All they needed to do was not botch the final release, not shut down the open beta, and we could have had Warner Brothers' own Smash Brothers. But from the predatory monetization, poor marketing, and bad publicity, Multiverses would end up going down the same route as the multiverse era of the MCU. But don't worry, I'm sure Warner Brothers won't have two of the most expensive flops in gaming history show up on this list. For another 2 minutes. So what happens when you combine Square Enix Platinum games and live service games? Other than the near Final Fantasy XIV crossover? So who remembers Babylon's Fall? Nope, you don't. Put your hand down. After the amazing success of Nier Automata, a new collab project between Square and Platinum just seemed to be in the stars. Too bad they decided on a live service game. And unfortunately, any live service by Square not named Final Fantasy XIV is doomed to fail. Though I guess 14 hasn't been doing as hot since Dawn Trail, but really that's not saying much. Babylon's Fall, well, fell flat even before release. The goal was to expand on Automata's combat and experiment with multiplayer on the side. That should be simple enough. Make a co-op hack and slash. Have Square do the story and Platinum focuses on the gameplay. The problem with this comes down to ego. And both Square and Platinum apparently have massive egos. They both wanted to take the game in different directions. Platinum wanted to focus more on the gameplay elements, while Square wanted to focus more on the graphics and storytelling. And without Yoko Taro's ego to drown out everyone else's, the back and forth clash led to a real developer
See, that's
hell.
the thing, though, is Yoko Taro deserves to have an ego because he's a fucking eccentric genius.
Yeah.
That might be an unpopular opinion, but that's what I feel.
No.
He's like Hideo Kojima for me. He's an eccentric genius, and like he
I'd say
deserves
also
to have the ego that he has because he knows how to make incredibly like innovative like ideas that actually appeal to people. So
I would also make the argument that he's a lot like Hideki Kamiya as well.
a little bit. Hideki's a little less of a genius in my opinion, but he's still a good game developer.
Fair enough.
And what we got in the end was a decent action game with a bare-bones story, subpar graphics, and a $60 price tag for a game that is always online. Unsurprisingly, it flopped, hitting around 1,200 concurrent players at its peak. The game was practically dead on arrival. Even though there was a demo and
I really
two
hope
betas,
that
there was so much development hell that
doesn't end
Square
up, like,
released.
killing Platinum either, like because Platinum.
No.
It's still a really good studio in my opinion.
Well, what might kill them is Hideki Kamiya leaving them.
Kamiya.
Hideki Kamiya leaving them and going to form Clover's, the Clover
Yeah, that's
studio.
true.
Which, I mean, Tango Softworks lasted a little bit after Shinji Mikami left, but
They should have
even then
lasted
went down to
longer
the
because their
dodo.
last game was a hit. But
Yes.
Microsoft's Fucking stupid ass publisher.
They're dumb.
Just to cut their losses. Too bad it didn't make back the suspected $90 million loss in revenue. Even a crossover with Nier Automata can save it. See, crossing over with Nier doesn't guarantee a franchise being saved from dying. Just as Soul Calibur. Not even a year later, the game's servers were shut down. And anyone who paid $60 for the game was out of luck. Square went on a gaming release spree, trying to recoup its losses, leading to the company reorganization that started last year. Platinum has been real hit or miss lately, with several of their top developers, including Hideki Kamiya, leaving to start their own studios. Despite this, Platinum says they still play.
Yeah, and him starting up Clovers, I'm excited about because it means we're getting a sequel to Okami. But at the same time, I hope that Platinum can fill in the massive gaping hole that Kamiya has left behind.
Plan to do live action in the future, saying they learned from Babylon's mistakes. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. So. Here's hoping Ninja Gaiden 4 is good.
So I heard Ninja Gaiden 4 was really good. So. But it wasn't platinum, though, I don't believe.
Hold on, has Ninja Gaiden 4 come out already?
Yeah. Yeah, it came out like a couple months ago.
Return to form for the series.
Oh, co-developed by Team Ninja and Platinum, so.
Okay, so it was, oh yeah, Ninja and Platinum, okay.
I think you're gonna have to give me a minute, though, before we finish this up.
Okay.
I've tried to wait. Oh, I'll be right back.
So yeah, Nick apparently is feeling better now. That's good. So we're on to number 4 right now, and I guess we're going to see what number 4... I can't remember what number 4 is.
Hey, remember the Batman Arkham series? Rocksteady's flagship franchise that reinvented the concept of superhero games for the better? Well, every family's got to have that one problem child. No, not Arkham Origins. You guys are just mean.
Origins
it's
is
this
awesome.
one. Yes, this is considered canon.
He's adopted.
Slip and Slide Squad Kill the Justice League's become, let's say...
It's not canon, in my head canon, so therefore it is not canon.
They canceled it before it was finished. Why would I look at it as canon?
I agree.
Nice. Dropping the franchise's well-known action-adventure gameplay to be a live service shooter with microtransactions. Oh, boy, we're already in trouble. There were feelings. Strong, justified feelings over the game. I myself have my own feelings with them almost literally pissing on my favorite DC hero's corpse. But we could probably save dissecting everything wrong with the game for another video. Because none of that matters as long as it does well for the company, right? Yeah, about that. Oh, the sales were so bad, it became a $200 million loss for Warner Brothers. Even without factoring in the platform fees, it barely made under $5 million on Steam. Considering the accolades the actual Arkham games usually get, oh, this is just embarrassing. While Rocksteady didn't exactly die, the aftermath was pretty gruesome. Because the game failed to meet sales expectations, the aftermath was pretty gruesome. Because the game failed to meet sales expectations, Warner Brothers did what Warner Brothers does. Screw over everyone else and take no accountability. Half the QA team was laid off, and the programming and artist teams were shown the door before the end of the year. Kill the Justice League was among the 3 major scapegoats in 2024 that led Warner Brothers to shut down 3 gaming studios, including the one in charge of the now canceled Wonder Woman game. Trying to get an actual report on how bad Kill the...
Yeah, and it was Monolith, who are amazing.
Justice League did was pretty hard, as Warner Brothers did everything they could to bury the truth. But like that's ever stopped the internet before. But food for thought, why couldn't they just make a regular task force?
Warner Brothers, so maybe they'll make them stop.
I'm worried about...
They said they didn't care about the gaming element of it. They said it was a drop in the bucket for what they were purchasing, so they might not do anything with it.
It's the IPs. That's what they're purchasing. The IPs of Batman, Superman, all the cavalcade of DC, and then not only that, but also all of the Warner Brothers characters and intellectual properties. Because here's the thing people don't seem to understand, or that people need to understand about modern entertainment. It's not about how good of a thing you can make. It's about being in control of the ideas. Because that's how the music industry was able to blow it up to the point of where it was. And then Ed Sheeran came along and said, and unbelievably, Ed Sheeran of all people came along and basically made it to where the music industry could no longer copyright chords and chord progressions and stuff like that. Instead, you could only copyright things that were directly like new songs, new ideas, new, like, you know, new songs and new like compositions. You couldn't just say, oh, that chord, it's in this song here and we own that song, therefore we now own that chord progression.
Nope.
Whereas Monolith came up with the Nemesis system.
Mm-hmm.
And has Warner Brothers done anything with it?
Nope.
And they never will.
Next game. They tinkered with the idea back in 2009 before announcing it in 2020 and then delaying it for 4 more years. But because Warner Brothers had to chase that live services trend, among many other bad choices, they dug themselves into a hole and dragged others with them. It says a lot when a VR game and a freaking Lego game feels more like a return to form than a big budget project.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but don't worry. I'm sure Warner will get that cash back. All they got to do is keep committing tax fraud, stop paying hardworking animators residuals, and keep benching the project people actually want. So, standard CEO practices, really.
Sell the company to somebody else because they gave up.
Oh yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention the game that nearly single-handedly destroyed the gaming industry.
Yes.
E.T. for Atari. This broken, almost unplayable piece of corporate schlock has been widely regarded as the single worst video game ever made. So what did the devs do to earn that title and flop harder than that one joke in As If Movie 6? Well, for starters, the E.T. game was developed by 3 people in 5 weeks. Why rush an understaffed development team to crank out an E.T. game in such a short amount of time? Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, similar reason to why Sonic 06 failed. Atari wanted to cash in on a holiday green, so we better get it done by the holiday season or we're all fired. Atari thought that E.T. would be such a success that they apparently ordered more copies than they could handle. Nothing could go wrong, right? Let me tell you. Not only were orders canceled because of competitors entering the gaming market, but of the 2.6 million copies sold, at least 669,000 were returned. Apparently, it was mostly grandmothers who were like, "Oh yes, little Timmy will love this E.T. game." So they bought it for their grandchildren, who booted the game up with their Ataris and quickly realized they would rather have Pitfall. The bugs and glitches made E.T. completely unplayable, and Atari would face some heavy repercussions as a result of their poor business practices. They would lose roughly $64 million in 1983. Adjusted for inflation, that's a whopping $220 million. The E.T. game would not only go down in history as the biggest failure in the gaming industry, but it was also deemed solely responsible for the 1983 video game crash. Atari would shut its doors and rumors were spread about them burying all of their assets in a Texas landfill, which included over 700,000 copies of E.T. These rumors were confirmed in 2014 when the burial was excavated. But to be honest, it was probably better left 6 feet under. You'd think this monumental failure would teach other gaming companies not to rush their overworked and underpaid staff lest they succumb to the same fate. Man, I can't even joke about that anymore. This is just sad.
Yeah.
The old saying rings true for the gaming industry. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Everyone wants to keep biggering their games in the AAA gaming sphere, and 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work. So when Ubisoft CEO proclaims Skull and Bones...
Oh my god, the first ever quadruple
Skull and
A.
Bones and Concord are the biggest two.
was going to be the first quadruple A game ever, are we really surprised at all by the bloated shell?
Was that Yves Guillemot who
Be
said
the
that?
first quadruple...
Yep, Yves Guillemot. Yves Guillemot, I want you to do something for me. I want you to spread your butt cheeks apart and no lube prepare for the royal ass fucking you're about to get. That is well deserved.
Triple A game ever.
I hope you lose your company. I hope you lose your company. Bro, I don't think you realize I was rooting for you. For a while, Eve, I rooted for you. But you became the very thing that you sought to be against. You became the very monster that you fought against.
I even was an Ubisoft apologist for a long time. I was like, yeah, they put a lot of slop in their games, but like their games are still fun to play, so I still play them. But like at a point, it just became impossible to give them any support.
You can't defend it. It's indefensible, dude. You can't defend this shit. Yves Guillemot and his team became the very thing that they swore they wouldn't. Mm-hmm. You literally said whenever Ubisoft went up for public offering that, don't worry, we're still going to be Ubisoft. We're just going to be public. And now, because you are beholden to shareholders, you are beholden to a market that is so volatile and so unpredictable that you literally cannot make heads or tails of it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead,
you don't get to stay what you were before when you do that. That's
you
not
don't.
How that works.
And still trying to champion yourself as a hero of modern gaming. No, you're not. You have become a villain of modern gaming, Yves Guillemot.
Are we really surprised at all by the bloated, shallow corpse of a game that watched ashore come February 16th? Hot off the sale of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Ubisoft wanted to capitalize on the hype surrounding their new pirate game and test their Singapore branch with taking the skeleton of Black Flag and turning it into a multiplayer experience to really put the player in the boots of a swashbuckler during the golden age of piracy. What followed was 11 agonizing years of development wrought with delays, executive meddling, and the game undergoing constant reworks because it kept exceeding its budget and the vision kept changing. All the while, they reportedly couldn't even cancel it due to receiving grants from the Singaporean government. With development hell so expensive that Dante Alighieri would have trouble navigating it, Skull and Bones was released as an absolute mess with barely any mechanics to show for it. A story? What story? Gameplay? Hope you like tedious resource collections and delivery missions. Swashbuckling? I'll try a short boarding cutscene, and that's all the action you get, folks! For a live service pirate game, it was never beating Sea of Thieves. For Ubisoft pirate games, Black Flag, despite being far older, is still running miles ahead of it in every category. With a budget ranging from 650 to 850 million, Ubisoft saw less than 1 million players at its maiden voyage, with most of them quickly abandoning ship when they saw how much of a rust bucket the game was, leaving it to rot in Davy Jones's locker.
How are you liking all these nautical puns?
Like, literally another case of people that were playing it at first. It's actually really fun. And I'm like, yeah, tell me that 2 days from now.
Yes.
Never heard back from them.
What did Ubisoft learn?
Because they were bored 2 days later.
Nothing. Ubisoft is...
Nary a goddamn thing.
Still afloat. Though, after all their other continuous disaster with Assassin's Creed Shadows, we're just gonna see if they can recover from all this. Probably not!
Number one. Or honorable?
Gollum.
Anybody really surprised when nobody asked for it?
Giving your game back, press. Not listening. Not listening.
Balan Wonderworld. This game has as many digits as it has buttons
Wow.
to use.
That
Mario
one's sad
Luigi,
because
Bowser.
it just looked really interesting to me. Like, I don't know what happened there, but I feel like they had something and just dropped the ball completely.
I blame Nintendo for this ass hattery right here. They literally did not have to put the dev team through this, but they did it anyway.
Inside Story DX, the remake of their most beloved game, killed the studio. That's just tragic. Mighty Number 9. The fact that this game has DLC at all is a miracle. Street Fighter 3. Obviously, it didn't kill Capcom, but Street Fighter was basically gone outside of spin-offs and crossovers for most of the 2000s. Thou shalt not suffer an exclusive to live. Anyone who uses PSN shall be subject to inconvenience. He who remasters any game, save only for Last of Us, shall be utterly destroyed. Blessed are you, Sony, ruler of the game industry, who sanctified us with an abundance of PC ports. Sony, in its infinite wisdom, saw fit to expand
king
their
of basically having easy money at their fingertips and just not wanting to take it.
domain with the addition of live services. He looked upon Firewalk, which is composed of many veterans. Firewalk sought to bring forth a revolutionary new live service. Thus did Sony acquire Firewalk to secure its ever-growing budget of $199 to $400
I think
million.
because of this, essentially, this is a good thing, really, because this has put us into what I see as the start of a golden age of indie games.
Yeah, indie slash
Because 2024 and 2025 were massive in terms of gaming, like in terms of the indie releases and the AA releases that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2026 is looking just as great so far in terms of stuff that's coming, and it's not AAA stuff that's coming.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so stoked about gaming right now. I was very worried like 2 years ago, and now I'm just like, nah, dude, this is actually good. Like,
yeah.
Great stuff's happening now. We're getting games that are complete games. We're getting games that don't get riddled with microtransactions. We're getting games that aren't banking on being live service. It's great, man.
It is. I'm hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
Firewalk was not worthy to share the profound righteousness of Sony, for their hubris had been building for 8 years. Firewalk begat the trailer for Concord, which is merely a non-gameplay cinematic. Firewalk begat the beta of Concord, which was ignored by the gamers, for it was cringe.
Kinda cringe.
Firewalk begat the full release of Concord, which was met with failure and derision. What is this you have done? Sony asked of Firewalk. My lord, I merely completed Concord, as you had asked of me. Sony commanded Firewalk to look upon their folly, and they recoiled. Anti-woke grifters, character design mockery, an unwanted genre, and a $40 price tag plagued the land. My lord, it has been merely a fortnight. Surely gamers will acquiesce in time. Your sin.
When you only charge $40 for it and still nobody cares, like, man.
Free, it should have been free.
You really goofed.
Yeah. Should have been free to
It's
play.
like people would have easily paid $40 for Silk Song. Like, people easily paid $40 for Clear Obscure. Like, I mean, that's not an unreasonable price, but it's just your game had nothing interesting about it, and nobody cared.
It was live service slop, dude. Whereas Silk Song and Clear Obscure are fully fleshed out single player experiences.
Beyond my grace, declared Sony.
I mean, Clear Obscure sold itself to me with a couple screenshots whenever I first heard about it, because I was just like, this looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out I was right.
Concord were cast into the pit of insolvency. Thus, the gamers were satisfied as the unholy demon.
Hey, good movie reference there.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods.
Mm-hmm. Cut to you know, the what's his name? I can't remember the actor's name, but cut to them in the control room with Sony's logo over the
smashing their heads up. And
like, no. Literally just like looking at them celebrating, then leaning forward towards the screen, just going, "Fuck you!"
Yeah.
Well, there goes Japan's perfect record.
Let my proclamation echo across the land. Pre-order the remaster of Last of Us, coming soon to PlayStation 6.
Not if I can help it.
All right. Well,
yeah, I think the Steam box, all that's really going to do, from my personal prediction, is get some people into PC gaming that have the money to build their own PCs, but are just too afraid to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, other than that, it's not really going to do a whole lot. It's going to be too expensive for most people to want to buy.
It's because of the RAM. Hate to say it, but the RAM situation is what is going to cause a lot of gaming for a lot of people out there to just go bye-bye for a bit. And that's why I'm actually...
Why is Steam shutting down in 2026? They're not. 32-bit versions of Windows because the vast majority of gamers aren't on 32-bit. What? Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
it's already passed.
I'm not on 32-bit. So
Neither am I. I'm on...
affect me.
Yeah, I'm on 64. Oh, God.
Guess that makes sense.
Well, there you go.
I mean, they literally take surveys to find out what people have that use their stuff. So they were just probably like, nobody's using it. So why would we keep doing stuff for it?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, well, everyone, that was
just remember, all the flops make way for the good stuff.
Yes, agreed.
There are big companies that never learn lessons, and they keep listening to their shareholders, but there are small companies that look at that and be like, let's not do what they're doing, and they do really good stuff because of it.
Yeah, for instance, Ubisoft. Whenever people were looking at Rainbow Six Extraction after the massive success of Siege, they were like, Extraction, that's what people want. Nobody played it.
I didn't care.
And then not only that, but Siege, there were so many people. Russian Badger had probably the best thing about it. He's just like, okay, how do we make a video game? All right, here's what we do. We take everything they did in Rainbow Six Extraction and do none of that.
These big
we're
companies,
gonna be okay.
These big companies keep looking at the most successful things out there and being like, all we have to do to be successful is copy things they're doing, not realizing that making a copy of something that's already there never gets you anywhere because people already have it.
Yeah.
You have to fill a niche of something people don't currently have.
Agreed.
And what do people not currently have in, 2025? People didn't have
Bloodborne and 60 FPS.
Turn-based action RPG, like with, turn-based combined with action RPG with a really good story, really good graphics that was actually fully fleshed out. Like Final Fantasy 16 was the closest thing, but it wasn't turn-based.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever somebody was like, we're going to release a good JRPG and we're going to use all our knowledge from making good games that we took with us from Ubisoft, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And what did people not have in 2025? The Silk Song sequel they've been wanting forever. And all I had to do was make that, and it freaking worked,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you stop doing what's currently successful and start looking at what people want. When you make stuff that people want, that's when you become successful. Because filling needs of people for what they don't currently have is how you make good stuff, not copying what people already have.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to copy Fortnite, you're not going to get anywhere. If you go to copy Apex Legends, you're not going to get anywhere. Look at what people are asking for, not what they already have.
Yes. 100%.
And that's where these big companies are going to have to figure that out before they'll ever come back and do anything good again, I think. And I think that's why Capcom and Konami are still succeeding right now, because Konami coming back being like, well, what are people asking for? Well, they want Silent Hill games again, like they want us to actually
Silent
make
Hill
decent
games.
stuff again, and so we'll actually try it, and it's working.
Mm-hmm.
Capcom's like, what do people want? They want us to continue doing what we've been doing because it works, and we're one of the few people who does it. So we're going to continue our Resident Evil franchise and our Devil May Cry franchise. And it works, and our Monster Hunter franchise,
And it works.
It's like they fill a niche. They do what people want them to do, and therefore they're successful.
Oh, not only that, but we're going to develop a completely almost completely separate version of a game so it will run good on the less powerful system, but it'll be just as good.
What did they do that with?
Monster Hunter Rise.
Oh, yeah. Like, that was like the Switch one. Kind of.
Yes.
Worlds, though, unfortunately, or Wilds. Yeah, they didn't quite do that.
No, Wilds, no, they haven't done that with...
Wilds is an Unreal Engine 5 thing again, so people are having trouble running it. I had trouble running F because it's Unreal Engine 5 too. I have trouble running everything that's Unreal Engine 5 because it's outran the hardware.
Yeah.
You basically need a 50 series to be able to run it at all. And 50 series suck because they don't support any 32-bit stuff from back in the day.
Yeah. Which is why I'm really wanting to upgrade and get a 4080S. Hopefully before Resident Evil 9 comes out.
What would be really cool is if you could just have a 50 series and like a 30 series in a system and then switch between the two easily, you know?
That would work.
It, like, run the 50 series when you're playing modern games and have it switch back to the 30 series if it's something the 50 series won't support, but that's expensive and not really viable, so.
Agreed.
I don't even know if that's possible.
It is, but it'd be a programming trick to do that. All right. Anyway,
yeah, lesson from this video for the big companies: do what people want, not what you think copying successful things is going to get you anywhere.
All right. Well, everyone, that was Josh Scorcher, and that was top 10 flops of all time. If y'all enjoyed what you saw here, feel free to check out more from Josh Scorcher. He is awesome. If you want to see more from us, click any of the other various links on the screen. We would greatly appreciate it. But until then, everybody, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
Y'all be good people. Take care. Peace.